Ask Reddit. What was the worst date you have been on? I got catfished by a girl who has sent me fake photos and it wasn't even close to her. She immediately addressed this, but in a way that would make it my fault if I had an issue with it, if that makes sense. Like, I know I lied about how I look, but only because I knew you wouldn't date me and looks are superficial. No problem. Let's see who she really is. I wish that was the reason I ran for the hills. She invited like 7 of her friends as consultants or advisors and told me to pretend they weren't there, sitting around at a huge table at Toronto's old spaghetti factory, all the while she's asking them advice while we are on a date. Like if I asked her, what do you do for fun? She would then turn to her friends and ask them what she should say. After the hardest convo of my life, she then asked if I wanted to watch some special edition Harry Potter with director commentary or something with all her friends at her house. I made up some random emergency and we never spoke again. Had a date tell me in the restaurant that her boyfriend never takes her anywhere and the only reason she agreed to come out with me was to make him jealous. This was after we had ordered. Figured she had to call her boyfriend for assistance on that one. I'm sure I'm too late, but this has to be said. I'm a white man with light blue eyes and went on a date with my friend's sister-in-law. She commented that I have beautiful eyes and then followed it up with I guess I've always agreed with Nazis about eye color. Okay, weird, but let's chalk that up to first date jitters. She then goes on to talk about how she has always had respect for the Nazis and their ambition, and in fact, was a Nazi in my past life. That was more than enough for me to get the best worst date story of all my friends. Took a gal to Starbucks, bought us both a drink, so we could sit and talk. About 5 minutes into it, she takes a phone call from a coworker, puts it on speakerphone, and begins to savagely shit talk everyone the two work with. On speakerphone, in a small semi-busy Starbucks, both parties cussing up a storm. The barista at the counter asked her to take the call off speaker as people were trying to study. They were, and she proceeds to argue with the barista about how she can't take it off speakerphone. Blah blah blah. I instantly got up and apologized to the barista on my way out of the store. Didn't message her, didn't hear from her. She casually referred to our waitress as the N-word. I said nothing, stood up and left. Plenty of catches in good old PA, but she was not one of them. Quick and easy reply. 18y/Omi, 21 years ago, goes on a date to pub with crush from school. UK. Hour into date she asks to borrow £20. Edit, which I did give her. 15 minutes later she's leaving with another guy. This one girl kept giving me strikes. I'd say or do something, and she'd go strike 1, strike 2, like that. So I said well hang on how many strikes do I get? She goes 3 like in baseball. I go how many do I have now? You're up to 2 so be careful. Oh okay. And I got up and walked away. Showed up to a date. First question she asks, oh, how did you get here? Me, I rode my bike her. Ugh I hate cyclists. Whenever I see them, I want to run them over in my car. 2 minutes later. So where are you from? Me, I grew up in Canada her. I've been to Montreal me. Oh cool, me too. I really like it. What did you think? I hated it. I thought it was dirty and the French people are really rude. 2 minutes later. Talking about work. Me, I was in consulting her. Ugh me too. I hated it. I didn't like a single consultant I met. We left after 30 minutes and never talked to each other again. It was at a coffee shop in a library. She showed up and the very first thing she did was remove her shoes and put them on the table. Later she mentioned how she was obsessed with victims of serial killers and had them tattooed on her body. Went on 3 dates, nice dinner, met her mom and all that. During the 3rd date she got a call in the middle of dinner. Finished the call and said sorry that's my boyfriend, this is the only time he gets to call from basic, and then she couldn't wrap her head around why I thought that was fucked up. Her reasoning was he was in another state, so she can do whatever she wants.